Hello everyone. I'm happy you are here to listen to another episode of English Airs, the podcast that gives you effortless accuracy. My name is Paria. Today, I want to tell you a little bit about how or when or why we use verbs like know or see or have in the continuous form. If you remember, last time we talked about he's being cute. Or like my cat when I was back home. Sometimes he did silly things and made me laugh. And I loved it when she was being silly. She was actually very, very clever. I hope she's okay. Today, as promised, I want to help you learn how to use the verb see in the continuous form. When do we say, I am seeing a person? Or maybe something else. Do you remember why we were able to say you are being unreasonable from the last episode? Well, if you remember, that's fantastic. And if you don't remember, that's okay, because we will be doing a little bit of review today, but also it might be a good idea to go back and listen to it. Okay, so if you don't remember from the last episode, let's do a mini review. Just to refresh our memory, when I say he's being kind, what do I mean? That's right. I mean he's acting kind. In some cases, especially when the adjective you are using is a negative one, such as rude or impolite, you want to use he's being impolite or she is being impolite because you don't want to say this is their personality. And in some other cases, you say, I'm being honest because you want to emphasize. You want to say, I'm telling the truth. Now, what all of these have in common is that when you say, I'm being polite, or I am being rude, or I am being unreasonable or honest, you are not talking about being, you're talking about doing something, like behaving or talking. The same is true for almost all the other verbs in this category, and today we are going to look at the verb see. It can be used instead of quite a few different actions. So let's think about different situations with different scenarios and try to guess what verb see is replacing. Let's start. For the first situation, let's imagine that you are in a party with some of your friends and your friends do not all know each other. There is one of them who likes another one, but they are maybe a little too shy to go and act. So they come to you and they want to know if the boy or the girl they are interested in already has a partner. They ask, is that person seeing anybody? Is he seeing anyone? Or maybe, is she seeing anyone? What do you think this means? Well, the verb see is what happens when you have eyes and you open them, and then you can use them to understand what the world around you looks like. In this case, though, this is not about using their eyes, right? So, what do you think? You are absolutely right. The question is he or she dating someone? Or in other words, is that person in a relationship with another person? If you want to say it in another way, if you want to use kind of a casual phrase, you can say, is that person taken? Before we move on to the other meanings, think about the people you know in real life. Think about the people who are not married yet. I'll give you a little time. Think about those around you and say who is seeing whom. I'm all ears here, so give it a go. That was a lot of talking that you did. Well done. Now we can move on to the next meaning. In this next scenario, we have a person who has had a lot of difficulties in their life. Like all of us. I mean, seriously, who hasn't had a lot of difficulties in their lives? If you have had an easy life, that's fantastic. But most people go through difficult times and they will need help. Who gives them that help? Did you say psychotherapists? You are right. Psychotherapists or therapists are the doctors who are specialized in helping you with your mental issues, helping you think better, think clearer, and have a healthier relationship with everyone around you and yourself. And this is usually something that cannot be fixed in one session or with only one visit to the doctor. If you decide that you need professional help, you can say, I'm seeing a therapist. In this case, when I say I'm seeing someone, it means I am going to a doctor. So again, it's not something that I am doing with my eyes, but it is an action that I am taking. The world has become so complicated that almost everybody needs some therapy at one point or the other in their lives. Let's think a little bit and say out loud who you know who is seeing a doctor. If there are other people around you, please speak out loud, but don't say that person's name, please. Let's protect people's privacy. I'll give you a little time. Go ahead. Very well done. The last part of today's episode is about a different situation again. This one is not normal. It does not happen to everyone. And if it does happen to you, it means that your situation has become slightly dangerous. This might sound a little off the topic, but bear with me. Have you ever seen in a movie somebody using drugs? Illegal drugs, I mean, like crystal meth or cocaine, LSD or ecstasy. Maybe you have even seen it in real life. I don't know, you could be a doctor. Now, one thing that happens when people take these kinds of drugs, especially if they take a little more than they should, they start imagining things. They hear sounds that are not real. They see things or people that do not exist. But do they actually see them? No, it's all in their head. It's their imagination. And that is when you can say you are seeing things. Which means, yes, you guessed right. You are imagining things. Have you ever had this experience? No, I'm not saying that you use drugs, but have you ever had a fever so high that you started seeing things? Wow, I'm glad you're okay now. And yes, this one would be a little bit difficult to give examples for. Before we end this episode, and while we are on the subject of imagining things that are not real, I just wanted to add that if you imagine things that are not real and see them, you can say, I'm seeing things. But if you don't see anything and instead you hear sounds that are not real and do not exist, you can say, I'm hearing things. If your friend tells you, hey, listen, can you hear that? And you don't, you can say, I don't hear anything. You're hearing things. Or maybe, you must be hearing things. This is the only case where you can say, I'm hearing things. It basically doesn't have any other meanings, at least not that I have heard of. Well, I think that's enough for today. What do you think? Yes, let's bring this episode to an end. Remember that you can see the script if you check out my YouTube channel, English Airs. You can leave comments. You can see slides on the videos now. Yes, I have started making them. And you can leave me a comment or ask me a question anywhere you follow me. Oh, and again, thank you. Thank you for introducing English Airs to anyone who might use it or need it. Paria.